Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
A couple of pieces of news today. We're just going to talk some fun stuff. She-Hulk review will be coming later today.
Yeah, we just got done watching it.
Yep, and recording our review on it. So, yeehaw, off to the races.
Yes.
But we're going to talk more about the volume today.
Kind of a midweek ramble.
It is a midweek ramble. Let's think of it that way. ILM released like a YouTube video. It was like a minute and 15 seconds with a bunch of characters, Star Wars characters obviously,
Actors,
praising the volume. Yeah. And I just wonder. I wonder about the timing a little bit. But
the timing is interesting considering how much praise Andor is getting for not using the volume, I think.
It's interesting because, yeah, like you just said, everyone talks about how Andor is practical. Everything's built. Everything is there.
On location.
Yep. And everyone's been loving how it looks, the way it looks. Whether you like the show or not, the show looks
glorious,
good.
Yeah.
And then there was just an article the other day about Christian Bale, who was Gore from Thor.
Oh, Batman. Yeah, Christian Bale. If you don't know who Christian Bale is, come on. I'm just
kidding.
But
specifically, I'm talking about him when he played Gore on Thor, Love, and Thunder. There was an article that just came out that I glanced over, that he was talking about how he didn't like how working with Marvel was working with so much green screen. That as an actor, he didn't really like working with so much green screen. And all of a sudden, now we've got this video talking about how these other actors are all praising the stagecraft of the volume.
Yeah, which isn't green screen. It's kind of green screen's next evolution.
It is.
Because it's actually the image is there for you.
It's a TV screen instead of
a for anybody who doesn't
screen.
know, it's like a giant, simplistically way of putting it, it's like a giant LED screen, right? It has the images there.
It encompasses a fair amount of space.
Yeah, you can watch the minute long. We'll put a link to that, in the comments or description, so you can check it. It's just a minute and 15, and it's basically these actors saying how great it is to work on this because it's not a green screen, essentially.
While the volume does work, I think, for smaller scale shots, I think it does have its limitations. I'll put there's probably some pictures I've got going on about volume and stuff, but my biggest problem is you do have to make smaller shots because it's like working on literally, they call it stagecraft. It's an actor on a stage for an all-stage performance. You have to have short scenes that either take a lot of time in one location and keep everything small, or you're constantly having to move around the set pieces.
Yeah.
We have to close the screen. Here's the next act. We moved everything around, and there's a new background.
Yeah, it looks... when you see that, you're probably going to put that image up where you can kind of see how... it's big, but relatively speaking, when you're talking about, trying to represent an entire planet or world or whatever you're trying to do, it is pretty small.
Well,
you do have a limited space to try and work. And I think Kenobi is where I really felt it the most. Like, I could feel like, they have a small area to work. It felt kind of, especially episode 3 with the Vader and Kenobi fight, it felt very claustrophobic.
Personally, I think of Leia when she was trying to evade Kenobi running through the streets of Daiyu. That sequence was so broken up. They can't do those continuous angle shots, those continuous filming shots that people really admire in filmmaking.
Yeah. I think it very much limits what you can do with the camera. Because
every time you want to change the angle, you literally have to move all of those set pieces and adjust where your screen is now sitting.
Yeah.
Not where your screen is sitting, I guess, but where your screen is displaying.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot of work, but it does, I think, result in shorter sequences.
Yeah, I guess so. I think so. I agree with you. I'm no expert, neither are you, but it makes sense, just logically speaking, that it's limiting, right? Mm-hmm. It's amazing technology. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's like, this is terrible and should be discarded, but I think it's got a ways to go.
If you're doing a chase scene running over a long distance, that involves you stopping and resetting the volume multiple times and moving the props.
Yeah. It
does sound like there's still a lot of extra work that a practical set, building the whole thing once. You build the whole town of Ferrix, it's there. It's there for you to use no matter what angle you want to turn and move it.
Yeah.
As long as the set is properly dressed, it's all there. You can do a long sequence. You can't do that in the volume.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the reasons why Kenobi felt small. You have to do all these little cuts. Little this, little that. Turn everything, start it up again, so you're constantly seeing the screen cuts.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think Andor's been. It just looks better. I'm sorry to say it because, like I said, I have nothing against the technology. I'm not trying to. This isn't like a hate video on the
No.
volume. It's incredible, but it is not. I think Andor is kind of highlighting that it is got a long ways to go. That it,
Yes.
especially in lighting, for me, that is the biggest problem. Like in Kenobi and even Mandalorian. Every time they go to Tatooine, which we've seen Tatooine obviously in the original trilogy, the prequels. A lot of that is done on location in Tunisia or maybe Death Valley or an actual desert, and like the lighting is just different. You can feel you are outdoors when you're watching Tatooine in the movies, whereas here it's like, okay, the lighting is wrong. It just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel bright enough, Or does that mean like the series or show sucks because the lighting isn't accurate? No, but it does kind of take a little bit away from that immersion when like, oh, they are on a soundstage somewhere, right? That's the last thing you want to be thinking about when you're trying to show an alien world. The fact that you're somewhere in your head, like, well, this isn't real. I know they're on a soundstage.
So I feel like the technology it's getting there. It's just not there 100% yet. And it's all about how you use it. In The Mandalorian with Dave Filoni and Favreau behind the camera, I didn't notice the volume so much.
They did go. I mean, I think the reason why you go to a lot of like dreary and gray planets, and like I said, Tatooine, you could tell was on the volume. But when you go to like the kind of the drearier, grayer worlds without that natural sunlight so much, it does feel better. It does look better. Mm-hmm. But Obi-Wan was where it really kind of, because we were on Tatooine so much, and you could always just tell the lighting was just not quite right.
There just has to be a better way to marry the two, or you're going to have to make a much bigger volume.
Something. I'm surprised.
Much bigger
surprised they don't have it in construction already. Just some
you
kind
have
of
a football
giant,
field-sized volume, so
Yeah.
you can actually make have the entire town and just control the background and make it look even bigger.
Yeah, maybe that would do the trick. I don't know.
We'll
But anyway,
see. It's technology. It's developing. We'll see where
Yeah.
it goes. I just thought the timing was very interesting
Yeah.
to have
No,
Andor
the
getting
timing
so
was
much praise for not using it, and Christian Bale saying how much he hates green screen.
screens. Yeah.
And now they're like, hey, but we have the volume,
Yeah,
and
the
it's
volume.
actually really great. And okay, I know it cuts down on production costs and
That's
most
the
likely
key,
production
yes.
time as well. But
Yeah,
it's not perfect technology yet.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes down to like, well, we can't do a show like The Mandalorian because it would be too expensive to go on location and build all the sets, or getting the series on the volume, which I think it looks good. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I'll take it, right? I'm not complaining, like, oh, we should stop making Star Wars so they can get the no. I'll gladly take a well done series on the volume. I'm not saying that at all, but it does have its limitations and a ways to go yet, I think.
All right, our next little ramble piece. Walmart Collectors Con started today, and so those figures are already up. They were up earlier than they were supposed to be,
No,
from
not
what I
Walmart.
understand.
Mistiming things.
The prices still gets me. I mean, the Vintage Collection Arc Trooper Havoc, he's $16.97.
$17 for one 3 3/4 inch figure.
I know, that's not as far from where Black Series started.
No, that is where Black Series started.
Black Series started, I thought, closer to 20.
I thought 15. I can't remember if Black Series started at 15 or 20. I know Legends, when they came back and when Hasbro got the license back, they were 15. That was early, like 2010, 2011 maybe.
It's just crazy to think that a 3 3/4 figure is costing roughly the same as a 6-inch figure
6-inch
was
figure cost
costing.
10 years ago, yeah.
And now the 6-inch figures are $27.97.
that they've essentially doubled in price in 10 years.
Yes. We've got the Aldhani Mission, Cassian Andor, who we actually haven't seen in the show yet. I think that's going to be next week's
Next
episode.
week. Spoilers.
What? We've got the Imperial Officer, Dark Times, with that interesting cape piece, which I couldn't figure out how it worked, but I saw a video of how it worked.
Yeah.
You literally just
flip it up.
flip up the back, and the rest of it will just flip naturally.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you don't want your figure to constantly have that flip, you can't leave it that way.
No, yeah. It's
Or
probably
you're going to
need
make a
little crease and be
permanent crease, and
yeah.
it won't be able to go back probably the way it was. So think carefully when putting that one up there.
Yes.
And lastly, but definitely not least, in my opinion,
Well,
we've got the Black Series Halloween Wookiee. He
Yay.
is adorable. He's a werewookie. It's cute.
God, a werewolf.
He's even got the little ice cream bucket. You know, the little transport ice cream bucket they always talk about. The
ice cream maker from from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, he has that as his bucket.
Oh, all right.
It's cute.
But no, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. Prices are getting really ridiculous. Hasbro is. I mean, for anybody who plays Magic the Gathering, which we both did years ago, I haven't played Magic in a long time, but Hasbro, who owns Wizards of the Coast now, is like charging $1,000 for like 4-pack, or like $250 a pack for like this, collector's set of the first print of Magic, the Alpha print. It's just like, wow, Hasbro is.
Well, and they're not playable cards either, right? They're
proxies. No, they're proxy. They're not tournament legal. So Hasbro is losing their mind. And from what I understand, I obviously keep up with this somewhat. I'm not into it as some other channels out there will probably get more into depth. But Hasbro is constantly looking for more and more sales. They're constantly looking to up their revenue, which that's life, right? That's all these major corporations.
Their costs have been going up, so they're just
but their costs.
But they need their profit to go up too, which is more than just raising their bottom line.
Well, yeah, they're more interested in raising their bottom line than trying to cater to their audience, and I think they're going to end up really biting themselves in the ass eventually and losing a lot of their customers.
These HasLabs are saying a lot.
The HasLabs are saying a lot. What they're doing with Magic the Gathering is saying, they want to increase revenue by like 100% over the next 5 years. Just the prices, $28. It was 2 to 3 years ago where the $20 was pretty much the standard, and maybe 22. And I get global pandemics, shipping. I get all these things, but wow, man, you're gonna find yourself with no customers really, really soon, I think.
What I find interesting about the Wookiee again is, according to StarWars.com, those aren't supposed to go on sale till November 1st. It's selling it now, but it says it's not going to ship it till December 9th.
What, that's not a Christmas Wookiee?
It's not a Christmas Wookiee. What does that mean for the Christmas ones that are coming? Am I not going to get those till Valentine's?
Yep.
Yeah, you knew where I was going.
I knew where you were going. And then you get the Valentine's Day ones.
Oh my gosh, I would love
St. Patrick's Day.
A little Darth Vader with a little red bow tie.
holding Don't give them ideas.
Holding like a little
Stop
heart.
Stop now. Turn back. I love you.
Some chocolates, heart, or some flowers.
Yes.
Oh my god, the flowers would have to be in the lightsaber hilt.
Jeez.
I've given them ideas, I know.
All they need is an idea that might make them some money, and they'll pounce. That's Hasbro's new motto.
Do we have any extra
Vaders
that
$1?
I can custom? I'm actually considering making myself now a Valentine's Day Vader because I love
Nothing says love like Darth Vader. I think that's it. I think it's time to say, well, that's all we got for you this time. So dig to the comments below. Tell us what you think about the volume. Are you impressed by it, but think maybe it's just not quite there yet? And tell us what you think about Hasbro. Are they just super greedy and eventually going to run themselves out of business? Well, I don't think Hasbro is going to go out of business, but eventually to the point where action figure collecting dies because the one holding the keys buries said keys in a mountain of money. Or something. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, take the comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.